Hi there, this is Nancy Love with part two for today. Tutorials from the Planet Peace Project. Um, I made a video earlier today talking about affiliation matching and the psychology of affiliation on why we have the cohorts we have. Some of that is choice, some of it is inadvertent, but nevertheless, in many cases, we do choose who to be around and why. I do want to speak briefly about this. I try to be optimistic and upbeat in these videos, but I talk about some very dark subjects sometimes, and they turn pretty darn pessimistic and strange when you talk about human behavior. Stalking and pursuing an inappropriate friend or an inappropriate job for that matter, or an inappropriate love object especially, has turned into a real tragedy for quite a few people in this world. And there are people who aren't alive right now because some idiot couldn't figure out how to have emotional self control and kept coming after someone who was not interested in them. And it gets even darker than that. I know of one situation where a man became involved with an obsessive relationship with somebody who he'd never met, who didn't know he existed. He stalked her for years. And then he cloned her phone and started sending himself texts as if they were from the woman. He made sure his wife of many years found the phone and saw the text. So his wife turned into what can only be called an outrageous, complete monster. She admitted that she was on 7 different drugs, from alcohol to cocaine to Adderall to Oxycontin to antidepressants to heroin to speed. And she actually manipulated the victim's situation so that she got a hold of the woman's pets and harmed them. And uh, it all started because I'm an animal rescuer, and cats and dogs and horses and parrots and ferrets and bunny rabbits, those are my world. And it's very, very hard to talk about this without becoming extremely upset because those innocent creatures didn't deserve the horror that they endured. Just because some guy became obsessed with some woman he'd never met before and started sending himself texts that appeared to be from her. It just all unfolded into this massive, massive tragedy, and his obsession, his lust, his inappropriate emotional greed, and his attempts, his very blatant attempts, which he admitted to, uh, to just make his wife jealous, turned into a horrifying tragedy from which those animals will never recover. And neither will the person that he stalked. If he wanted his wife to be more like the woman he became obsessed with, who didn't know him, he should have tried to counsel her or get co-counseling with her and talk to her about the things she did, which, basically were things like massive drug abuse and violence, But she shot him. She killed one of their pets to torture him. And it goes on from there. These stories can turn very, very dark, and when you talk about obsessing over someone that is not appropriate to you, um, I don't ever mean to make light of it, because it is horror if you're the victim of inappropriate stalking and obsession. And your family members, including pets and children and your property and so forth, can also suffer very, very horribly, because some idiot can't figure out how to grow up and show up and not have obsessive thoughts about someone with whom he is not in a relationship. I'm going to make a third part in a minute, but that's the main thing I want to say about that. Um, if you are obsessed with someone who doesn't seem interested in you, or if that person has repeatedly said, no, I'm not interested, if you've never even met the person, then you need to get help. You need to get counseling. What you don't need is to commit violence against that person or those that they legitimately love. More later about that. I'm an animal advocate and I'm just getting started here.